Check it, cause I ain't got no time to lose. Check it, which time to use ya? Check it, check it, check it, cause I ain't got no time to lose. Check it, check it, check it, check it,
Everybody, I appreciate y'all coming back. Well, tonight's subject is going to be a little bit different. We announced a Bible study, and I was going to do an interactive Bible study with a guest. But with all this stuff going on, scheduling differences happen, and here we are. I was moved to have a subject matter ready to teach and ready to go with the individual. But things fell through. But, you know, me being a servant, I was summoned to be steadfast in delivering a message. And the message that I was given was actually through a Facebook post. I'm going to go ahead and read this Facebook post. The Facebook post says, while protecting other people's feelings, I'm hurting my own. And there was a reply, yes, this is something I'm going through right now. And the person that wrote it says, I have to break this cycle. I have to break this cycle. Now, when I read that, you know, as me scrolling through, you know, looking at stuff, you know, I was hit with, you got to help them. Okay. I'm obedient. I got to do what I got to do. So, that being said, today's message is called sacrifice. Sacrifice. Sacrifice is a big word. What I mean by big, I don't mean by, you know, a bunch of letters. When you use the word sacrifice and you mean it, that's a big word. That's a big word. So, what is a sacrifice? I'm going to go straight to the definition and then we're going to elaborate. According to the dictionary, a sacrifice is an act of slaughtering an animal or person or surrendering a possession as an offering to God or to a divine or supernatural figure. Now, when we're talking about sacrifice, in that connotation, we're talking about it as a noun, being a thing. Now, let's revisit that definition. Sacrifice, it's an act. Well, act sounds like it's something you have to do, and it sounds like something specific. So let's define what an act is. So an act is to take action or to do something. Another definition is to behave in the way specified. An example of that will be they followed the man who was seen acting suspiciously. You have another definition that says to take effect and have a particular effect. You have one that says perform a fictional role in a play, a movie or television production, as well as to behave so as to appear to be or to pretend to be. So when we're talking about a sacrifice, basically it's something that we're doing for a reason. It's an act. And when we're talking about sacrifice, in the beginning, are we really looking for a gain? Are we really looking for some type of gain from a sacrifice? An example would be, I want to go hang out with my dudes and watch boxing and kick it and do what we do when men get together. But I need to actually get some work done for a presentation I have to do the following day. So I'm going to sacrifice kicking it with my friends and do this work because I want a positive gain. I want a positive gain. Now, me going in knowing that, the sacrifice makes sense. But some people have a mindset, and it's these type of sacrifices that causes doubt, that causes disruption, that causes distress. Because a person might be attracted to a person and might want to be with them. They might want to spend the rest of their life with them. But looking at them in this current state, you got to help them and get them together. You got to help them get their GED. You got to help them get their felony expunged. You got to help them learn how to fill out an application. You got to teach them where to go, how to present themselves, how to interview. That's a lot to do. But you being who you are, you're willing to sacrifice. You're willing to sacrifice time invested in them. You could be invested in yourself, bettering yourself, or you could be investing it into your kids and bettering your kids. But you say, you know what? I want a 2-parent household. They daddies ain't doing what they supposed to do. And this guy's really into me. I think I could get him together. Let me go ahead and sacrifice. Let me go ahead and sacrifice and help him get together so in the future we could get married and have a family. Now, I'm only using that example because I see it consistently in the line of work that I'm in. I do tons of counseling. I do tons of marriage and family therapy, with other therapists, with other licensed professionals. And they have me come in as a second ear, or if it's a female therapist, she would have me come in from a male perspective. So I see it a lot. So when we talk about sacrifice, what are you getting? What are you getting from your sacrifice? So you take action and you say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice. So you start behaving in a specific way. That's what the definitions are saying. You're going to behave in a specific way, which means instead of getting frustrated with this guy because he ain't doing what you're supposed to do, he should be focusing on what you told him instead of playing Madden. You frustrated, so you acting in a specific way. You're acting like his mama. But you his girl. So I understand your frustration as you trying to help him, which is what queens do. So basically you get frustrated. Now, things start to take effect. And they have a particular effect. Ain't that what the definition said? They have a particular effect. So as you consistently trying to get him together and looking like his mom, things start to happen. The dynamic of the relationship changes. From y'all being like this to you saying, you need to, you need to, you need to, you need to. And he said, I know, I know, I know, I know. So now y'all arguing. First y'all started out on the same frequency. Now it changed because the dynamic of the relationship changed. But he might need to get on his stuff. But it's how you talk to him. Remember, you sacrificing, right? You supposed to be sacrificing. So instead of yelling at him and trying to be his mom, you got to be a better queen. Why do queens got to do everything? That's why you the queen. Without a queen, there is no king. In old African culture, where a lot of us come from, okay, it was a matriarch society. I said this before, where the women ruled the families. The women chose the kings. They chose their king. How did they choose him? Well, the men had to perform a series of tests. They had to go see if they could feed the family. They had to go hunt. They're 13, 14, 15 years old, whatever they is. They got to go hunt. Not only do they got to go hunt and spot the prey, they got to kill it. No matter what it is, they got to kill it and bring it back. They also have to be able to work with their hands, build huts, start fires. They had to be useful. The king had to be useful for the queen, because out of all these men chasing them, why would she pick the lamest one? Because she would choose a sacrifice to help him get to king when the other ones are already worthy? Am I saying the one that ain't worthy right now won't be worthy? What I am saying is the queen's choice to choose. And you chose. And you chose, if you stand in my scenario. You chose to choose this guy. You chose to choose. I like that. You chose to choose this guy. Because you saw potential. You sat back in your brain and said, I like this guy. Your body was in the present. Your mental went to the future 5 years from now. Zip. But your body stay here like this. Zip. You there. You saw yourself together, happily married with the rings on and holding hands, walking in the park with the kids and eating pizza and sipping lemonade. That's what you saw. But you see that and you feel good. But when you look at what you got, you feel bad. What did you choose? You chose to sacrifice. You chose to sacrifice. Now, the fourth definition said to perform a fictional role in a play or a movie or a television production. If you don't like the position that you're in and you hate what you're doing, that's exactly what you're doing. You're performing a fictional role. You're acting. Your life is like a movie or a television production. One thing about movies, one thing about fictional roles, and one thing about television productions, they all end. They have a beginning, they have a middle, and they have an end. How long are you going to stay in this role? You already knew the beginning. You're in the middle of it right now. When is it going to end? Let's move on. Also, another definition for sacrifice is offer or kill as a religious sacrifice. To offer or kill as a religious sacrifice. So when we're talking about a sacrifice, you're offering, which means you're giving up something, which means you give up something. You're either giving something of yourself, a religious sacrifice, your beliefs, right? Your belief that you have, that the man's supposed to take care of the woman or the man's supposed to be the head of the household. You want to get your religious belief, and now the woman taking care of the man. So you killed yourself as a religious sacrifice. Man, you sound crazy. You gave up your religious belief to be with this man, is what I'm saying. Now, offer. Offer is to present or to proffer something, or to accept or reject as so desired. So in so many words, what it's saying is when you offering something, basically you're giving up something. And the person you're giving it to can accept it or reject it as they desire. So the more you try to go down their throat, They can accept what you're saying or they can reject what you're saying. No matter how much love is in it or how much care in it or how much hate is in it. They can accept it or they can reject it. But why is that important? Why is that important? You know why? Because another definition of offer is an expression, which means it has to come from a person. An expression of readiness to do or to give something if desired. What did you do? You desired this man. So you desired to give up your religious beliefs. You desired to sacrifice. But this definition says an expression of readiness. Was you ready? That's the question. The sacrifice that you made, was you ready to give it? The sacrifice that you made, was you ready to give it? Whether it was money that you knew you wasn't going to get back, now your bill's messed up, your car behind. Was it time? You spent time with that person because they were sad, but you missed your court date? Or you missed your kids' basketball team or whatever they need you for, a Zoom meeting? You know what I'm saying? An expression of readiness. Was you ready to make this sacrifice or did you make a mistake? It's okay if you make mistakes. You human. Were you ready? Only you could answer that. Let's move on. Are sacrifices necessary? Well, if I was to answer that personally, then it'll be my opinion. So I don't want you to just have my opinion. And since this is, quote unquote, a Bible study, let's get into this word. You heard? Are sacrifices necessary? If you turn your Bibles to Exodus 8:27. Exodus 8:27. I'll give you time to get there. All right, let's get it. Exodus 8:27. Exodus 8:27 reads, "We must take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God as he commands us." Exodus 8:27 says, we must take a 3-day journey, which is a little trip, into the wilderness, which means it's cold, it's wet, it could be rainy, dark, mosquitoes, to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God as he commands us. Not tell him, or maybe you should, you. He said commands, which is you better, us, which is his creation, all people, us that believe in him. If we break that down, what it's saying is what they did is they had to actually take a 3-day journey. Back then, journeys meant on foot. They meant they had to walk. And guess what? What kind of shoes did they wear back then where they was at? Sandals. And 3 days sounds like you're walking in the day and at night, in the morning, in the evening. When it's hot, it's in the day, and cold at night. You're walking. You're taking a 3-day journey in a wilderness. Now, when we say wilderness, you might, in some cases, think wilderness, forest. But in the part of the area they was in, depending on the time period, because we technically, well, I'm gonna leave that alone. They could be talking about a desert type plain, the wilderness. You do the research. Not giving that up. You look for it. So they had to actually go out into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord their God. as he commanded us. So what is this saying? It's saying God commands you to make sacrifices. It don't mean you got to like him, but he commands you to do it. If you believe his word, I'm just saying. Exodus 8:28 says, Pharaoh said, oh, who was Pharaoh? If you do the research, Pharaoh basically was the rulers of Egypt, the kings. So basically, if you're the king of a land, you rule it all off with his head, your head coming off. So Exodus 8:28 says, Pharaoh said, I will let you go to offer sacrifices to the Lord your God. Notice he said the Lord your God, which means that's not his God. He said the Lord your God in the wilderness. So I'm going to let y'all walk away from here because I ain't supposed to do that, right? I'm the king. And that's a bad example. But I'm not supposed to do that. You know how many people done came up here talking that smack about their God and what they needed to do, and we just cut their heads off? But I guess I got a special feeling about your God. So I'm going to let y'all go and offer y'all sacrifices to the Lord your God. In the wilderness, I'm going to let y'all go and walk 3 days. I know that's far. I know you better come back. I'm going to send for you. But you must not go very far, which means 3 days worth of travel, and that's it. And guess what else I need you to do when you go? Pray for me. That's what the scriptures say. Now pray for me. He said he letting them go to the wilderness, which he don't supposed to do, which shows God showing favor, softening Pharaoh's heart, to let them come sacrifice from him. That's how important sacrifices are. God softened Pharaoh's heart in this case. See, the other case, he's told you he softened Pharaoh's heart. But if you read this, it shows he softened his heart because of God. Why? I need them to come on and, give me some offers, some sacrifices. I need that. Let me get that up out for you. I need them sacrifices. Pharaoh, hey, I know what you about, bro. Soften your heart. Let them come holler at me. I'm going to send them back. And that's what happened. But the key is he said, now pray for me. Why would he ask them to pray for him knowing they're going to call on his God to answer the prayer? And he already got his own God. If you do your research, Egyptians had their own gods. So he either feared that God or he believed in that God. One of the two. One of the two. Let's keep it moving. Leviticus 7:17 says, any meat of the sacrifice left over to the third day must be burnt up and basically put up out of here. So the scripture actually said, Leviticus 7:17 says, any meat of the sacrifice left over to the third day must be burned up. What is that saying? It's saying after a while, sacrifice items or things that's being sacrificed ain't no good. Your sacrifice got a time limit on it. Oh girl, remember let's get back to you. Your relationship, your situation that you in, the sacrifice got a time limit. It was necessary to get to where you was trying to get. But if things ain't working out, it said right here, it's a time limit on the sacrifice. He said after the third day, bruh, it ain't no good. It ain't no energy in that. The meat stank. Send that to the lions or something. We don't need that. It ain't no good. It stink. So after a while, that meat rots and gets funky and nasty and festering and flies come and yuck. It's bacteria infested. If it used to be a sacrifice, though. It used to be holy. It used to be looked upon by the God of this Bible that up until 3 days, I love this. Remember in them scriptures, he said he loved the smell? Yeah, look at them. They putting forth an act. They surrendering themselves to me. I love that smell. They put them spices on there. Oh, man, it just smells so good. After the third day, hey man, hey, that meat rotten. Hey, throw that out. It stink. It ain't no good. The time limit is up. At some point, your sacrifice start to stink. At some point, your sacrifice turns into bacteria infested garbage. How long are you going to stay in that mess? It said right here, Leviticus 7:17, if you need confirmation, sacrifices have a time limit. Let's move on. Leviticus 7:17 also says they must no longer offer any of their sacrifices to the goat idols. Hold up. So that means while they were sacrificing to God, they was also sacrificing to goat idols. And they was allowed to do that? To whom they prostitute themselves. Who does that? If you prostituting yourself, that's basically saying you're lowering your standard. That's basically saying you giving up something you really don't want to give up and you feel like, ugh. Are you sacrificing to a goat idol? Are you sacrificing to something that's not the real deal? Are you sacrificing to people that really don't care about you? Are you sacrificing your life for people that's talking smack behind your back? Are you sacrificing for people that no matter how much money you give them, they keep asking for more because they know you're going to give it? And then they make you feel guilty because you don't give it. How long are you going to make this sacrifice? I know you love your mama. I know you love your mama. She did her job. You grown. You grown. You know what I'm saying? You didn't ask to be here. You here. The sacrifice is over. If she sacrificed her childhood, that was her choice to get in that situation. You're an adult. You don't have to stay in these bacteria-infested sacrificial places. Let's move on. Are you wasting your sacrifice? How much time have passed? How much time in this relationship has passed? You got all this zeal for this guy. He ain't even proposed to you in 3 years. He ain't even bought you no type of ring. Not even a promise ring. Like, how long are you willing to sacrifice? You ain't getting no younger. That wrinkle that just hit. You know what I'm saying? The gray that came, uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? Used to be radiologically symmetrical. Now you turn it into a box. You know what I'm saying? Are you wasting your sacrifice? Is that relationship you in? What about with school? I mean, you take this major, you switch, take this major, you switch. I understand you learning, but I mean, how long are you going to sacrifice school? You're broke. I mean, go make some money, get a career, get a job or something while you're in school. Build at the same time. Is that sacrifice worth it? What about with your kids? What about with your children? Are you not sacrificing enough for them? Because they your future. Or your kids so off the chain that you sacrificing your sanity. And you might just have to realize this parent thing, I'm not a good parent. And somebody else would be. So I need help. And that's when people like me come in and help, with the parenting skills and with the kids and things of that nature. What about the sacrificial offers in the church? How long have those been going on? How long have you been giving up those paychecks and nothing's coming out of them? What are you getting out of that sacrifice? Are you getting a pretty building that just looks good and say, I contributed to that? Or is somebody really feeding you something that you absolutely love? Because you could read the Bible on your own. You could pray to God on your own. You and your pastor got the same book. But he or she could just be anointed to give you the message that you could comprehend. And that helps you get through your day or your month, or help you get to a whole nother level. That's when the sacrificial offering is worth. If you're not, I can't tell you what to do with your money, but sacrifice should yield. A sacrifice should yield. And if it doesn't yield it should yield positively somebody who was part of the sacrifice, like your children or things of that nature. Like if somebody sacrificed their retirement money, put all their money into a kid's college fund, that's a sacrifice to yield the offspring having a better upbringing or a better financial life than they had. They yielded. Their life wasn't the best, but they yielded because their seeds elevated their namesake. What type of sacrifice are you in? And lastly, was it the word or the man saying the word that you was into? Was you really going to see that pastor? You walked past and you gave him a hug. You like the way he smelled. You like the way he looked. Like you like the way he dressed so much. You bring your dude to church and say, you need to get a suit like that. Do you know how that make a man feel when you tell them they should dress like another man? Do you know that make him like, you looking at him? What if we said, hey, babe, you see her right there? See how that dress she got on? Boy, woo! You need to go get one of them. That's like, y'all would hate that. Because I already know. So when y'all say that, we feel the same way. Now, lastly, we about to end. It was a newspaper article in the Times Record Herald, okay? Some researchers did a study. Listen to it. Listen. Researchers at the University of Notre Dame carried out a 10-week honesty experiment with 110 people. Half were instructed to stop telling major and minor lies during the test. The other half were given no special instructions. But groups went to a lab each week to fill out health and relationship surveys, as well as they took polygraph tests. They found that participants could purposely and dramatically reduce their everyday lies, and that in turn was associated with significantly improved health. Anita Kelly, the psychology professor who led the study, said in a statement after presenting her findings to the American Psychological Association in late August, fibbing releases stress hormones that can increase heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration. The research suggests that lying often enough and long enough could cause damage to the heart, to the arteries, and transparent living is healthier. It's a good life versus a convoluted or dark life. So basically, when you lie and you consistently live in a lie, you're really killing yourself. You're raising your blood pressure. You're causing stress hormones, hypertension. You live in a lie, you killing yourself. Is that sacrifice? That's a sacrifice because you're sacrificing your life. Remember that first definition? To kill or offer an item, an animal, or a person. Remember that? You're offering yourself up. You're the person that's being offered up by your sacrifice if it's living a lie and you're not yielding in no way, shape, or form. Transparent living is healthier. A good life versus a convoluted dark life will actually help you sustain life and live longer than living a lie sacrifice that could be killing you. What are you going to do? That being said, I appreciate y'all attending this Bible study. And there's more to come. Until next time, these holla.